Who's the next big-name prospect to sign? Should Connor Bedard have a say in the Blackhawks' next coach? All that and more on Mailbag Monday with Greg Boysen. He's right over there, I promise. Next on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast. Happy Mailbag Monday. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use the code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I'm Jay Zawaski. That's Greg Boysen. Mario is off through Tuesday. Do us a favor, hit that like button for us. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page as well. And if you're checking us out on the podcast, make sure you're following or subscribed on your favorite podcast app. Before we get to Mailbag Monday, programming note, Tuesday at 2:30, we will have Alex Vlasic on the show. I think he's got maybe 3 more appearances with us between now and, I guess, next season, because we're going to do an off-season hit with him as well. So make sure you don't miss tomorrow's show at 2:30. Set yourself a reminder to tune in. We'll send out the tweets and all that good stuff, but looking forward to talking to Alex Vlasic tomorrow at 2:30. Greg?
I was worried that hit was going to get canceled for a few moments there yesterday.
Yeah, it did not look good.
When he was on the ice in pain, I turned to you going, well, Tuesday's show is canceled.
Yeah, I saw him when he got knocked down, kind of like convulsing is overstating it, but you could tell he was like struggling, and I'm like, well, he's either dying or the wind is knocked out of him badly. And I think that's what happened. Because when you get the wind knocked out of you and you really can't get your breath, like that's kind of the sensation you have.
Yeah,
It's like the lady who was stomping grapes on the old like news blooper. Yeah. She falls off the stage and she I think that's kind of what Alex was going
we could obviously ask him tomorrow, because it looked like I didn't see the play happen live. I was looking down at the time.
It was bad.
But the replay looked like he got slashed on the knee.
Yes,
so maybe it was more of a almost like you see you get slashed on the knee, you feel you get slashed on the knee, and your brain automatically goes, your career is over.
Yeah,
and you get scared because it does hurt, but he was back. So
we'll find out.
Yeah,
tomorrow at 2:30, Alex Vlasic will be right here with us.
Alex, did you cry on your way to the bench?
He got up on his own power.
Hey,
when I saw him do that
happened to me, I'd still be lying there.
Yeah, no, they'd have to just build the Bulls court around me. Just leave my chalk outline on the ice somewhere. All right, we're going to get to your mailbag questions. We have a lot. We are going to start, as we always do, with our diehards from our Discord. If you're a diehard, you get priority on Mailbag Monday. So another perk of being a CHGO diehard. And speaking of that, I wrote my Blackhawks beat today in praise of Sam Renzel. So check that out if you're a diehard. And if you want to read it, become one, allchgo.com. All right, we're going to start with G-Bubs. 1, no relation to B-Dubs. We prefer Hooters. What are realistic trade possibilities for a top 6 forward this summer? I hear Barzal, but likely because that's Bedard's buddy and may not even be available. Who are likely candidates to ship out and make room as it's getting crowded? See, this would be a lot easier to do if the cap wasn't going up.
Right.
Because you can kind of look to see where teams are slotting in, who are free agents, those sort of things. I think there's going to be a lot of guys that maybe 3-4 years ago, GMs were saying we're going to have to find a way to ship them out before player X becomes a free agent, that now they might be able to keep. So I do like the name Barzal. That makes a lot of sense. There's a question later in the show on who are some teams that might be tanking or considering rebuilding to get Gavin McKenna. And I think the Islanders are a team that have maybe started to indicate they're ready to maybe go young or maybe hit the reset button a little bit. So I think I like Barzal as an option.
I do, if the price is right.
Yeah.
Somebody on social media proposed a trade of like, would I give up either the Florida or Toronto first-round pick, a second this year, and Kevin Korchinski for Matthew Barzal, I said no.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. And when you look at Barzal, he's an exciting, great player, would be a great fit for Connor Bedard. He can't stay on the ice.
That's an issue.
He has only played one full 82-game season in his career. This year, he's only played 30 games after playing 80 last year, but he's missed big chunks of a lot of his career. I don't want to give up a ton to get a guy that you don't know how many games he's going to play. Now, if the price is right, sure.
He's 27. He'll be 28 by the start of next season. Turns 28 May 26th.
And does it say, are you looking on a place that says until when he's signed to? Or?
No, I'm going right now.
He would be a really good fit. I just don't know if I want to give up that much to get a guy that just has a history of being hurt all the time.
Oof, he is signed for a long time. 9.15 through 2030-31. That's 1, 2, 3. That's 6 more years left at 9.1.
So that would be a 34-year-old Matthew Barzal who can't stay healthy for $9 million. I think I'm passing on that.
At that cost, yeah.
I mean, granted, the salary cap won't be that won't be as big of a cap hit as it sounds like it's going to be, or as it sounds like now.
Yeah.
But I mean, if this guy had a track record of playing 75 to 82 games a year, no problem. But it's those 53 game and 62 game seasons that consistently happen.
They're too common.
That has me worried. Now, as far as guys who are available, I don't think we really know yet because, things can go south this summer for players. Look the guys who are going to have their contracts expiring in the next year or two.
Right.
For teams that they may not want to play with, for whatever reason. As you mentioned, the salary cap's going up, so that might prevent some of those guys. But some of these guys might want to be like, I don't want to play here anymore. A guy I'd love to hit the trade market. I don't see it happening, but a guy like Kirill Kaprizov, if he tells Minnesota, I don't want to play here anymore, I don't see any scenario where the Minnesota Wild would trade him to within their division to the Blackhawks.
And they're on record saying that no one will pay him more than we will. So they want him. Now, he can still say, that's great, but I want to play somewhere else.
I want to play where I might actually win something.
Yeah.
So I think as we get closer, as the season ends and we get closer to the draft, some names that we wouldn't expect to be out there might all of a sudden pop out there.
Some of the names.
So keep an eye on Vancouver and what they want to do with Elias Pettersson. Because if he's out there, that's a guy I go after too.
There's some names here. This is the 2026 free agent class, so not this coming summer, the following. McDavid, Panarin, Eichel, Ovechkin, Kaprizov, Laine, Hayes, Connor, Kopitar, Lee, Malkin, Schmaltz, Kempe, Schwartz, Bjorkstrand. Did I say Schwartz? Schwartz, Bjorkstrand, Coyle,
Schwartz.
Evander Kane, Wenberg, Pajot, Connor Garland. Like that is a very appealing free agent class, much more so than this one. Like this summer, it's pretty much Mitch Marner or bust for everybody.
Right. It started off as a big summer, but then when Draisaitl and Rantanen get taken off the board,
this will be
a lot
the
of those
way.
guys are going to get taken off. I don't think Kaprizov is going to go anywhere. I don't think he's going to even sniff the free agent market. But if you get a guy like that gets disenfranchised with where he's at, teams might be desperate and say, well, we want to get something for him because we know we can't sign him. So you kind of have to let this thing play out. Well, because nobody thought in their wildest dreams heading into this season that Mikko Rantanen was going to get traded, let alone get traded twice in the same season.
How about that?
So I think we can name a bunch of guys, and some of them may never, be considered for a trade, and then there may be a guy that comes out of nowhere where you're like, holy cow, I never thought that guy would be there.
Now, this would be more of a stopgap situation, but as we're talking about the Islanders, Anders Lee is a guy with local ties. His wife's from the area.
Want him because he went to Notre Dame.
Usually that would be not everybody, though. Not everybody checks that box. Anders Bjork, get out of here. But he's 35, or he'll be 35 in July. I don't, and he's a free agent after next season, so he's one of those 2026 guys too. I know we're done with the gap deal, I know we're done with filling out spots with veterans for a limited time, but somebody like Lee that could play in your top 6, maybe you extend him for 2-3 years. So you'd have, if you get him this summer in a trade, it's 4 years of him. And it's probably a guy, he's a captain of the Islanders. And as your talent rises and maybe you draft Michael Misa or you sign a free agent this summer or next, as his career goes on, maybe he slots down and becomes your new, maybe a little more offensively skilled Nick Foligno. That's a guy I could be convinced about. But again, that can't be your top acquisition. That's not enough. No. But it's a trade candidate I think that would be on board with playing here.
Sure. If it's not a high cost. But I wouldn't think a guy like that would get a huge return. But then again, look what Brock Nelson got.
I still think
different situation, trade deadline.
One of the most overrated players in hockey in my mind.
I don't know, he's doing pretty good in Colorado.
Yeah, I would do pretty well there too. All right, Rooney is next up on the mailbag. Says, is there a precedent for acquiring coaches? Mike Sullivan has 1 year left on his deal. If he and the Penguins agree to move on, instead of terminating the contract and hitting the open market, could the Hawks toss him a 4th-round pick or something, then extend him? I know you did some research on this before the show.
You used to be able to trade for a coach in the NHL, but you cannot anymore. It hasn't happened very often, but the last time it happened was actually in 1987. Phil Esposito, Blackhawks legend Phil Esposito, was the head general manager of the New York Rangers and traded a 1st-round pick and cash to the Quebec Nordiques for Michel Bergeron, their head coach. And it didn't end well. They missed the playoffs in his first season, and Esposito fired him 4 games into the next season.
Oof.
Thankfully for the Rangers, that 1st-round pick that he gave up, the Nordiques, I didn't write down the name of the guy that they picked, but he only played 17 NHL games. Okay. So it was a wash.
Sure.
But that was the last time that happened. You can't do it anymore. Otherwise, hey, man, Pittsburgh wants a 2nd-round pick for Mike Sullivan. Done.
Yeah, sure.
Done. But no, you cannot do that anymore. I like the outside of the box thinking, though.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. We got time for one more before the break. We got a quickie.
You got the sniffles?
This one from Warren Bedard's says, which veteran not named TJ Brody that's still under contract for next year do you believe will not be on the opening night roster for next season? My gut, quote, hot take is that Dickinson will be moved in the offseason. It's an interesting question.
It's a good question. I wouldn't be shocked if there's a Jason Dickinson trade. Not that I have inside information or anything. That wouldn't be shocking.
Not totally crazy. I think it's Lucas Reichel.
Yeah.
Does that count?
Yeah, I mean, he is a veteran, technically.
22-year-old veteran. On this team he is.
I mean, I'm not... It sounds like they're ready to make one of those like change of scenery trades where you trade Lucas Reichel for a guy that's kind of in the same situation somewhere else, and see what happened. I know a lot of people with the resurgence of all these young defensemen are ready to trade Connor Murphy for nothing this offseason. You gotta have a veteran. You gotta have somebody out there that can do something. So that was a guy that for the last couple of years I thought would be a good trade chip, but now you might have to keep him just because of the extreme youth of your defensive core right now.
There's just not a ton of candidates. I mean, they're not going to ship Bertuzzi out right away.
No,
if someone wants Tyler Bertuzzi, I think they'd listen.
Oh, absolutely.
But I don't see that.
There has been some grumblings that they may try a buyout with Bertuzzi after year 1. I don't see that happening.
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
He's still been fine. I mean, he's been Tyler Bertuzzi.
20 goals.
He's been Tyler Bertuzzi. This is who he is. This
right.
is what you signed. If you had visions of him being anything else than what he's been this year, I don't know what you were expecting.
Everybody else is a kid.
Yeah, there's not a lot to
choose
choose from.
Tavo, Foligno, Dickinson. Those are really your choices. And you're not going to trade, like you said, Connor Murphy because he's the only guy in your defense, aside from Blackhawks legend Shea Weber and the aforementioned TJ Brody, over 30. Good Lord. Over 25.
I was going to say over 24.
I mean, yeah. Keep Murphy around. If some team blows your socks off at the deadline, then maybe you talk about it. But, We have seen Scott Powers sort of hint too that they might try to bring in another veteran defenseman.
That's what I was going to say. If you trade Murphy, you just sign another veteran. You can't go into next year with all 6 inexperienced. You need at least one vet.
Maybe even two. 5 is even having 5.
Maybe you bring in another Alec Martinez type and explain to that guy, you're our 7th guy. You're going to play 55 games this year.
Sure. All right, we got to hit the break zone. Make sure you do us a favor if you've not done it already and hit that like button. A lot of you have not, so please do that. We would appreciate that very much. We'll be back with more of your great questions on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast powered by Bet365. And light beer just got better. Introducing, as you see on our table here, Sam Adams American Light. You know what? Light beer, sometimes when it's not Sam Adams American Light, you're like, yep, this is definitely a light beer. Absolutely. There is a whisper of beer flavor in this here beer I'm drinking. That is not the situation.
Whispers of Beer, isn't that a Train album?
We got to ask Lawrence. Sam Adams American Light is a light beer without the compromise. It is absolutely delicious. It's easy to drink. It is crisp. Love it. It's terrific. Get yourself some. It is not your average light beer. It's brewed with 100% American sourced ingredients from local independent farmers. That is light beer that's made right and it tastes right. Light beer just got better. Grab some Sam Adams American Light. Available now at select Chicago retailers. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly. And you want to smell good, right? We don't want to be stinky. Summer is around the corner. It's going to be here before you know it, right? It was 70 degrees yesterday, so naturally it's 30-something today. Get yourself some Mando to get ready for the warm weather ahead. It's whole body deodorant, safe to use anywhere on your body. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, and everything in between. You can rub some Mando on it. It's created by a doctor who saw firsthand how a normal BO is being misdiagnosed and mistreated. They've got a variety of great scents like the Bourbon Leather, Mount Fuji, or the Pro Sport. My favorite is the Clover Woods. 12 hours after a shower, you're still going to smell great with Mando. Their odor controlling is out of this world. Their starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like the mini body wash or deodorant wipes. Keep those in your glove box. Those come in very handy. And free shipping. And as a special offer for our listeners, new customers can get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code CHGO at shopmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. All right. Done.
That was good dramatic effect there.
Thank you. Mike Honcho, next question. What are your thoughts on Mason McTavish in a trade? Would fill that second line center role nicely. Is one or both of the first from Toronto and Florida plus one of Allen, DeMastro, or Kaiser enough to get that done?
The short answer, no.
I would not think so, but I don't think it's... You might have to sweeten it a little bit. Like maybe that's where Lucas Reichel can kind of come in.
You probably have to give up one of your own first rounders. You're going to have to give up a high pick. And I don't think Mason McTavish is getting traded. Like everybody says, oh, young 22-year-old center could fill a void for years and years and years in Chicago. Then why the hell would Anaheim trade him? Now that could be an offer sheet candidate.
Yeah.
I don't think the Ducks, who are in the same exact spot the Blackhawks are in as far as rebuilding, are going to trade away a future long-term anchor center that could be their second line center for the next decade plus.
Would you... Wow. Would you trade next year's first, your first next year for him?
If you are going to not be contending for the first overall pick, if you go out this summer and you get Mitch Marner and you progress to where you're probably the Utahns right now
in the 70s somewhere,
then sure. But if you're going to have another roster where you're flirting with number 1 overall and you end up handing them Gavin McKenna for Mace, for McTavish. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But it's probably going to take a pick like that to pry him away. I don't think he's available. It would be really stupid of Pat Verbeek.
It doesn't make a lot of sense
to do that. Now, Pat Verbeek has made a lot of head-scratching moves already. Some have panned out, some have not. But there is one thing that if you listen to 32 Thoughts every week, which you should, because it's the second best hockey podcast out there after
naturally
this one when I'm on it. And but Elliot Freeman has said time and time again, Pat Verbeek is one of the hardest guys to trade with because he sets his price and he doesn't budge. That's why John Gibson is still an Anaheim Duck. He wanted the world for John Gibson. Didn't get it, didn't trade him.
Yeah.
So if you want to get McTavish, you offer sheet him, and that's probably going to cost you a lot.
Yeah.
Because a guy like that is not going to be a Dylan Holloway type offer sheet where it costs you a 3rd-round pick. It's going to cost you multiple picks, 1st-round picks to get McTavish.
And I mean, Anaheim has nothing that's going to prevent them from signing him. Troy Terry is signed forever for $7 million. Killorn is signed at 6.25 for the next 2 years. There's no big contracts on that team. Mason McTavish is going to be their big contract. The highest paid player on that team is Troy Terry at 7. Then it's Jacob Trouba at 8, but he's a free agent after 25-26. So
I don't see a scenario where he's even available. It's fun to dream. I'd love to see it happen. I just don't think it's possible. So offer sheets could be a thing this year for the Blackhawks. There's a lot of restricted free agents out there.
Yeah.
And the Hawks have the picks and they have the funds to do it. So lots of options this summer on how to get this team better beyond signing Mitch Marner.
All right. Damaged Lightning says, what are your thoughts on the Hawks doing what the Oilers did for McDavid by hiring as OHL coach? I'd be super curious if they maybe looked into Bedard's coach from Regina, John Paddock. He had some success as head coach of the Jets in the 90s with 142 wins and a couple of playoff runs.
Not the same situation.
Yeah, not John Paddock. I think that you could convince me that Connor Bedard should have a little bit of say in who they hire. Not like I want this guy to hire him, but him, some of the more important young guys, and I would say some of the vets too that are here long term. Like, here's some of the guys are inquiring about. Do you have any interest? Is there a hard no here for you for any reason? I think you can involve your trusted circle of leadership. Yeah, including Connor Bedard in the conversation.
I would look more for who would you review? Who do you not want to play for? That's what I take in consideration more than who would I want.
And even if it's not like specifically, would you play for Bob Jones or no? It's like, what do you want in a coach? What are you seeking in a coach?
No more Joneses in Chicago, Jay.
Yeah, his name has been sullied.
And like the difference between Chris Knobloch, who Damaged Lightning is referring there, he's 46. John Paddock is 70.
Yeah,
70 years old. Hasn't been a head coach in the NHL in over 30 years. Wasn't that great of an NHL coach to begin with.
I mean, if he hasn't gone through the remix cycle yet,
he was an assistant for the Flyers for one season in 2013-14. And then it's been either AHL or junior the whole time. He had 2 playoff teams with the Jets in the early 90s, but that was when the league had 24 teams and 16 of them made the playoffs. He was barely over 500 those 2 seasons. So I appreciate the outside of the box, and it's been working for Edmonton so far, but you've got a guy in Chris Knobloch who's an up-and-coming coach.
It's definitely Knobloch that's doing it in Edmonton, not
no, exactly, absolutely. I mean, yeah, that's why Jay Woodcroft can't get another job until he's here next year, maybe. But John Paddock, I'm not hiring a 70-year-old coach who hasn't been in the league as a head coach in 30 years coach Connor Bedard, regardless of how much coaching did John Paddock really do for Connor Bedard in Regina? Hey, go out and be the best player. Like, I think we're learning.
Good job, kid.
There's a lot of things that Connor Bedard have done in his first 2 years in the NHL that shows you he wasn't getting coached up a whole lot in Regina. He was just go make these far inferior players look like chumps.
That's it. On that note, though, guys who have coached before or haven't gotten a chance. We were talking about this off the air yesterday, and I made a couple calls and texts to some sources. Say, wait, why does no one talk about Trent Yawney as a head coach candidate anymore?
Because he shaved his head.
Like, Duncan Keith raves about him. Brent Seabrook raved about him. Not just as like a head coach, but as like a development guy who really helped young guys get better. He's been bouncing around as assistants. He's an assistant in Detroit right now with Todd McClellan. I know he coached here before in a very different time. I'm not saying that that's the guy I want, but I wouldn't mind talking to Trent Yawney and see what he's got to say. I just think it's interesting that a guy with that good of a reputation has not gotten a head coaching job since the Chicago thing.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't want one. I know he's been a head coach in the AHL a few times.
But he was like, when the Hawks hired him, he was like an up and coming. Like, that was not an out of the box hire, really.
Because that was like what he was only out of the league as a player for 3 or 4 years. It wasn't like, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. Do you really want to hire a defenseman as your head coach when you're trying to get this team to be more offensive?
I mean,
I know it's not the same as like the NFL where like you can alternate between former offensive coordinator and former defensive coordinator. But if defense is your expertise and you're a head coach, how does that help Connor Bedard and Oliver Moore and Frank Nays? I'm not saying I don't know. I don't know what type of overall coach he is, but if he's your defensive specialist,
I mean, Joel Quenneville was a defenseman, and he seemed to get plenty of offense out of those Hawks teams. Like,
but
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just kind of more curious as to why he hasn't gotten hired. And the people I've asked have said, that's a good question. I don't really know. Like, there's not some kind of like, sometimes you ask those questions and they're like, oh, well, there was this or that sort of a thing. And you're like, okay, fine. I see, maybe something happened in the past.
He's attached to the hip with Todd McClellan these days. And Todd McClellan is one of the most respected coaches in the game. So I don't know. That's a good question.
So after the Hawks,
maybe that's something we need to ask to some of our scouts that hang out in the box.
Scouts
that know more than we do.
Well, before I push Kirk Maltby down the stairs, I'll ask him.
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah.
On my way, Kurt.
Since his 2 years as head coach of the Hawks, it did not go well. Actually, a year and change. 103 total games. San Jose as an assistant for 3. Head coach was Syracuse, then Norfolk for 2 years. Assistant Anaheim for 4. 1 year in Edmonton. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 years with LA. And now he's in Detroit. So, I don't know. He's been making the rounds. It's interesting. I just find it funny that a guy who was that highly touted as a head coach has one bad year, with a horrible Hawks roster and just never really finds a head coaching chance before. I don't know. All right. Next. We got a short one.
The short one is probably going to be the fun one for today because the other ones are all really long. So we'll do the fun one.
This one from Blackhawk 63 said, fun question. Jay, would you have your daughter be a special correspondent to conduct a get-to-know young Blackhawks interview? She is pretty much their contemporary. Are you down with Addie's actually here today?
Addie is here.
She's saying yes. She's nodding yes. Okay, she'll do it.
But only if she gets to interview Lucas Reichel. Right? I've heard things.
Yeah.
All right, we've thoroughly embarrassed her. Mission accomplished. On to the next question.
And then there's another part of that one real quick, too.
I think we need Addie to come on the show to teach us the lingo of the kids.
Yeah, we should do that.
Or at least me. She probably teaches you. I have no idea.
I learned it just to
She's
make her.
definitely way more hip than I am.
I do it to embarrass her. I learned the lingo just to embarrass her. Yes. All right, so the Blackhawk 63's other question is, do you think Soderblom can keep Ovechkin from scoring Friday? I saw that Arvid's on a list of goalies who haven't allowed a goal to Ovechkin.
If he plays, might be Spencer Knight game. I don't know.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see if Ovi's got 5 goals. He needs 5 goals to break the record. He's got 2 more games before he plays the Hawks. So
scored a hat trick to get 800 against the Hawks.
That was one of the coolest experiences of my professional career, was being able to cover that game.
Yeah.
We'll see. It should be fun. I don't know. We'll see if Soderblom is even the starter that night. I mean, that would be kind of cool to be the goalie that gives up the record-breaking goal.
Yeah, we just like Olay it and be like, "Look, I'm part of history now.
Look at me. I'm a pub trivia question answer for the rest of my life."
Exactly, like Corey Wooten,
right?
Who's like the defensive end that ended Brett Favre's career,
right? And if Aaron Rodgers signs with the Vikings, he has to come out of retirement and play one more game for the Bears.
Do it, please. All right, we got to hit the break zone again. Do us a favor, like button, please. We need 100 likes. We're not even close. Come on, everybody. Hit that like button for us. Back in a moment on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast, powered by Bet365. And if you haven't noticed, everybody, life's been a little crazy for everybody. And one thing that helps me unwind are Cornbread Hemp's CBD gummies. If you've been looking for a natural way to relieve aches and discomfort, the CBD gummies from Cornbread Hemp are formulated to work with your body, not against it. They will use the best part of the hemp plant, that's the flower, for the purest and most potent CBD, formulated to help relieve discomfort, stress, and sleeplessness. I can vouch for all those. Cornbread CBD gummies are terrific. All products are third-party lab tested and USDA organic to ensure safety and purity. They're organic, vegan, and gluten-free, so that's good for Mario. No poopy pants. Made with full-spectrum CBD for maximum potency. Flower-only extraction means you're not eating sticks, stems, or leaves. Like back in high school. Fast, free shipping on every order right now. They're offering CHGO listeners 30% off their first orders. Just visit cornbreadhemp.com/CHGO and use promo code CHGO at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/CHGO with the code CHGO for 30% off your first order. This is the good life. And no matter what outdoor activities you are into, whether it's spectating your daughter's softball games or you're a middle-aged man who's into birding like I am, you need the best view possible. And our friends at Right On Optics, they are going to get you squared away. Everyone can use a great pair of binoculars. Right On is the place to get them. They offer higher performance at a lower price. It's the perfect balance of performance and value. You will not break the bank with Right On Optics. They've been around for over a decade. Every product receives a full quality control inspection, and the Right On Promise unlimited lifetime warranty not only covers defects, but also accidental damage from drops. So if you're up in a tree looking for blue-footed boobies, it's a bird, and you drop your binoculars.
I only heard one of those three words.
Footed.
Right.
Yes. They're going to replace it. They're going to take care of you at Right On. Get a better look at everything. Right On has quality products you know you can trust. Check out their full line of Right On products today at rightonoptics.com/CHGO. That's RITON optics.com/CHGO. All right, a couple super chats we got here from Warren Bedard's. $2 says, any chance of an all-city app in the future?
I hope not. No,
Sarah
I'm just kidding.
I feel like that has been mentioned.
It's something that's definitely been mentioned. It's not a priority at the moment, but it is something that I definitely see in our future for sure.
Yeah, even if it was just kind of to direct people to the webpage.
Yeah, absolutely. It's. I definitely see it in our future. It's not a priority right now.
Not imminent.
Yeah. And then I did want to shout out Blackhawks fans. He just came across us and said he's missing out. And he was missing out, but we're happy you're here.
We're glad you're here, yes. Who is in his picture there? Can we tell?
Guessing it's Connor Bedard.
Probably.
Some guy with an A and then a 0, but I don't know what the other number is.
That's right, Patrick Sharp.
Is that Patrick Sharp? I think
anyway,
thank
you. We appreciate that.
Second best 10 in Blackhawks history.
Yeah, after Tony Imani.
After Dennis Hall.
No. It's a different show. We'll fight about that this summer. All right, next up is Aziz, who was actually at our takeover before the Philly game. Nice to meet Aziz. He says, if we limit ourselves to coaches with prior NHL head coaching experience, who would be the top 2 or 3 candidates? The only constraint I would put is that those guys are available or expected to be, so no pipe dream candidates like John Cooper or Mike Sullivan. Essentially, from coaches such as Bruce Boudreau, Torch, Jay Woodcroft, etc., who would likely be the best option? If none of them, then isn't someone like David Carl the best option, assuming he wants to leave Denver?
That's a lot. By the way, John Cooper is not. I know we've talked a lot that this was his last year of his contract, but apparently he quietly signed a 1-year extension, so not available this summer. Even I didn't think he would be anyway. Mike Sullivan, yes, still under contract. We'll see how that goes.
There is one NHL coach on an expiring contract this year, Rick Tocchet.
Right, but Pierre LeBrun reported earlier this week. I mentioned it in Morning Chirps that you can get every morning on Chicago Hockey Now. According to Pierre LeBrun's inside sources with the Canucks, there's actually an option on that contract, and the Canucks are planning on fully using that. They fully expect him to be the coach next season. I know there was a lot of talk once that Philly job opened up, obviously with Tocchet being a longtime Flyer as a player. I mean, Rick Tocchet's one of those guys that everybody's like, oh, man, what a great coach, what a great coach. And then, then why is he even being considered to be available next year? Like,
yeah, I mean, look, if he's available, he's on my list, but
he's not one of these guys that seems to get there, gets an immediate jump, and then eventually you're kind of like, we're okay here. I mean, a lot of that stuff that happened there this year, the whole JT Miller and Pettersson stuff, that stuff got pretty ugly from different reports. That's a reflection on the coach that you allow that to happen in your room. And I had somebody earlier this year tweet at me like, you need a guy like Rick Tocchet. He doesn't allow his players to play half-ass. Have you been watching the Canucks this year? He totally lets his players play half-ass.
Yeah, he may not want them to, but
there's no reason that team, even without JT Miller, I know Quinn Hughes has been hurt, but there's no reason that team should be on the outside looking in on the playoffs. If the playoffs started today, they'd be missing it. Some of that's on Tocchet. Not all of it, some of it. So, I don't know. John Tortorella, I know you guys talked about it. Not interested. I don't think he's interested in coaching anymore.
He flat out said he literally doesn't want to coach a team like this.
Yes, he literally said, I don't know how to coach a young rebuilding team. That should automatically disqualify him from this. Like, even I know the people love him because he's a red ass and he yells at officials. And, hey, he's big in the dog rescues. I like him for that.
So is Tony La Russa.
Well, yeah, but
also a penis.
I don't think John Tortorella's ever fallen asleep at a stoplight. Not that I know of.
There's still time.
So, like, Torts is a no for me because he literally just said, I don't know how to coach a team like this. Well, then what's he going to do here?
He didn't say I don't know how. He says I have no interest.
Even worse.
Yes.
So, Tocchet, if he's available, it doesn't sound like he will be. I would definitely bring him in for an interview. Wouldn't be my first choice. Bruce Boudreau, I love. I think that ship has sailed as far as him. He's another one of these guys that gets a lot of success early, and then eventually, you're like, why do we hire this guy? I mean, and he's a very likable guy. I would love to cover him, but
100%.
You have to also wait to see who becomes available. There's going to be guys that get fired.
Right.
Jay Woodcroft, I would definitely interview. He had success in Edmonton, and then the season that Connor McDavid was hurt early and, all of a sudden he's not good enough and he gets fired. He's definitely worth another look. I'd bring him in for an interview, see what he does. Some people in the chat are mentioning Gerard Gallant. There's a reason doesn't have a job.
Yeah.
And he's a guy that is like, great, you're going to win in the first year or two, but you literally had a team fire him on a road trip and make him take a cab to the airport to get on another plane.
Yeah,
you don't do that for a guy you like.
Yeah.
Like,
and wasn't it the Florida Panthers the last team he coached?
No, last team he coached was the Rangers.
Rangers.
It was the Panthers were the team that fired him.
Yes.
And said, take your own plane home, get out of here, take a cab. We're not even letting you on the bus. Then he went to Vegas, took them to the Cup final, but then he was gone the next year.
When that happens, there's a reason.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's a guy you want for a young team either. That's a guy that if you've got a veteran team that's just needs that kick in the pants to get him to the next stop, that's a guy. I don't think he's the right fit, nor I don't know if he's interested in coaching a team like the Hawks. I know David Carl is a sexy pick, for the 20th time on record, I wouldn't be mad if David Carl was the hire, but I just want a guy with a track record. I know he's won a lot at Denver. I know he's won back-to-back gold medals at the World Juniors, but this ain't Denver. Like Denver, you can bring in whoever you want. If you're a good recruiter, you can have the most talented team in the country. World Juniors, you're coaching literally the best 20, 18 and under kids or 20 and under kids in the country. It's a lot easier to win with those teams than to get to the NHL. I want a guy that isn't learning about how to be in the NHL with the players. I want a guy that knows how to do it, who's been there.
I agree with you. However, again, and you're right, someone's going to get fired. There's going to be names available we don't know. But for what is currently available, I want Carl. For what I currently know is available, which is Tortorella and Boudreau and rehash after rehash after rehash. If they're not going to go grab some assistant, a Trent Yawney type, not necessarily Trent Yawney, then maybe Carl is Ben Johnson. We don't know. Like,
right.
Everyone around the hockey world seems to think that his NHL success as a head coach is basically guaranteed. Like he's going to make a ton of money.
A lot of people.
Someone's going to pry him away.
A lot of people said that about Dave Hackstall, and he's currently looking for his third NHL gig. So,
yep.
You know, I know Jim Montgomery came from Denver, and he's had a pretty good NHL career. There are success stories with that. I'm not sure if I'm Kyle Davidson, I risk my legacy and my future of my job on a guy that's never done it before.
Well, if you believe,
because if he messes up this coaching hire and it doesn't work, that's the last one he's ever going to get to make.
He's going to be fired.
So,
but if he believes that that's the dude,
yeah, but he believed Luke Richardson was the dude too.
Yeah, we did for a while too.
Absolutely we did. And then nothing changed.
Just to put a little bow on Torts, by the way, I shared this when he got fired, but the Athletic did a player poll earlier this year. What coach would you least like to play for? 38% of NHL players said Tortorella. The next closest was Bruce Cassidy at 12.3. I mean, that is a massive, massive group of NHL players that have no interest in playing for Torts. And again, I know this town is still in love with the Ditkas and the screaming and yelling and fire. It works.
Young players don't want that.
I mean, look, just look at the Flyers. Last year, did Torts get a lot out of the Flyers last year? Yes, because he drove them to the absolute brink.
Right. And then they ran out of gas and
completely out of
gas.
On
their face. And then this year, you know, he's having screaming matches with Cam York. He's benching Mitchkov.
Yeah.
You know,
had an early season argument with Sean Couturier, the captain.
Right. Healthy scratched his captain.
Right. It's all. It's just not.
There's a lot of posturing and
by the way, from reports in Philly, and you don't have to just go look at box scores. The people that get punished are the young players, not the veterans.
Here.
You don't want that.
You don't want that here.
No, that is not a good fit. In 3-4 years,
if you think, you know, Anders Sorensen or Luke Richardson hates the kids and wants to play the veterans.
Well, Sorensen clearly doesn't, which I appreciate.
Well, yeah, but I also right. But like, you know, if you were getting mad that Luke Richardson was playing TJ Brody every night, just wait till John Tortorella gets this team. And 100%. Connor Bedard's benched, so, you know, Corey Perry's second term with Chicago can get 20 minutes a night.
Yikes. All right, we want to do one more. We got to hit the break zone here. Where are we at? All right, we're going to hit the break zone one last time, we promise. We are over 100 likes. We love you. We thank you. But it doesn't mean you can, you know, if you're still watching, you haven't hit it yet, please do it again and subscribe to the YouTube page as well. Back with more in a moment on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast, powered by Bet365. And go get yourself a new car at Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake. They're celebrating their March Radness sales event going on right now. That means the latest vehicles you've been looking for are now priced with game-winning savings. How about 0% financing for 60 months? $0 down. I could do that. I have $0. 0 payments for 90 days, plus 0 hidden fees on select new Chevy models. Or check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. With one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, you're sure to find the perfect vehicle for you. As one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, They're able to keep their prices competitive, so you know you'll get a great deal. Plus, with Ray's Price Promise, you can shop confidently because a guarantee of no add-ons, no hidden fees, and no gimmicks means the price you see is the price you pay. You don't have to worry about price changing, stressful negotiations, or any tricks. The people at Ray Chevy just want to help you get into the right vehicle at the right price. So go see for yourself. Visit them this March at their convenient location right on Route 12 in Fox Lake. And don't miss out on their March Radness sales event going on all month long for 0% financing on select new Chevy models. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive. And we love our friends at Game Time. You're always looking for tickets to great sporting events, concerts, all that great stuff. You got like last minute plans like, oh man, I just saw this band's in town and I want to go. Game Time is the place to do it. They have a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams or your favorite shows even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste any time searching through thousands of tickets. I cannot wait. We were talking before the show. When does the NHL schedule come out for next year? Because my Morning Jacket has several shows in Chicago in October. I need to find out ASAP which of those shows I can go to. And when I find out, I'm going to Game Time.
Which shows we can go to.
Yes, Greg and I will be there for sure. It's great. And what I really love about it, if you're going maybe out of town, you want to check out a stadium you've never been to before and you're not sure what the view will be, they've got the views from your seat, those panoramic views, so there's no surprises. And they've got their lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. You can get Sox season tickets for that. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today.
That's how much they'll pay you to help with the tarp on the field.
Ooh. What time is it?
Game Time who?
Tarp
Thank
time.
you, Sarah.
Game time.
Thank
tarp
you.
Time. Ram. I don't know.
And the Sox are also currently winning 9-0, and it is the top of the 7th. So make sure everyone tunes into the CHGO White Sox postgame show. That is going to be right after the CHGO Blackhawks show.
And Will Venable, Manager of the Year. Let's go.
World Series.
Start the parade route now.
Hey, they dominate March. Unfortunately, there's all the other months they play baseball.
And it's March 31st, unfortunately for them.
Yes. Tomorrow's April.
All right. Boy, we got a lot of people who want Q and Dale Talon back. Everybody, it's okay to move on. Like, the past is the past for a reason. It's okay.
6-year-old dudes hanging out
Dale
here
Talon's
today.
like pushing 80, isn't he?
I don't know. Didn't he just get...
Dale Talon is 74.
I'm good.
No. You've got the old school guy here already in Norm McIver. Norm McIver is that old school front office guy, eye test guy. He's there. Don't worry. Sheesh. Okay, sorry. I'm back. All right, the Sneaks, who looks like post-heroin Ryan Adams, says, I've never been a, quote, officials are screwing us conspiracy theorist, but over the last 2 or 3 months, the inequality in officiating has become totally absurd. How do we gain back more equal treatment under the Zebras? A head coach who's willing to publicly call out embarrassing calls, non-calls in real time? Better official management by the captain and alternates? In-game hypnotism? ?
I like that.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Well, first of all, you have to be a better team.
That helps. You got to earn your calls.
Because
which
bad
is dumb,
teams
true.
usually don't get calls, especially when you're playing better teams. It's just the way it is. But yes, the officiating has league-wide has been poor this year. I think the problem is, once again, as I've said forever, once you get replay involved, the officiating becomes lax because they know they could just go to the replay. I hate replay in sports. It's good in theory. It sucks in practice. We don't know what offside is anymore. Nobody knows what goalie interference is.
Yeah, clearly.
So just let the human element be like it should be only be for like goal or non-goal. That's the only thing replays should be. Did the puck cross over the line? That's it.
Or high sticks. I don't mind that.
Yeah, but I mean, just I'm okay with replay being removed out of all sports. I mean, I'm watching a baseball game and where's Zapruder filming if a guy's pinky got off the base for a split second to call him out, even though his foot was on the base 20 feet before the ball got there. I hate it. I hate replay. So, but officiating, I mean, the Hawks have to get better because I guarantee you a lot of times during the 2010s, the teams playing the Blackhawks thought they were getting screwed by the officials.
Sure.
Good teams get calls, bad teams don't.
And think back before the dynasty, whenever the Hawks would play Detroit, if a stick touched the foot of a Red Wing and they went down, the arm's going up against the Hawks every time because the Hawks were bad and the Red Wings were good and they were full of veteran, Yzerman, Fedorov, Lidstrom, Shanahan, go on and on and on of the Hall of Famers that play for those Red Wings teams. So they're going to get those calls. I also think that some of the young guys on the team, and I'm pointing a finger at Connor Bedard, need to shut up a little bit and just let the call happen. As a young player, if you complain, they're gonna not call penalties on you on purpose to send a message, or they're gonna tag you for a 10-minute misconduct, as they done with Bedard. Because what happened in that game was he was chirping and he was warned. He chirped again. They said, "Okay, you're gone for 10 minutes." Was it the right thing to do? No. Should the referees have thicker skin? Yes, they should. But we know through, you and me, a combined 80 years of watching hockey, it's never going to happen. Right. The referees will never have thick skin, and they will always make it personal. So you have to adjust. And Connor Bedard will eventually get those calls. Early in Sidney Crosby's career, he was known as a crybaby. He was known as a diver.
Jonathan Toews never did anything wrong.
Ever.
He complained about every single penalty against him.
That was the middle of the bingo card, was palms up Jonathan Toews.
Even at during the heyday and even after he was established as a first ballot Hall of Famer, he still complained about every single call that went against him. And did that save him from getting calls in his career? Probably a little bit, but so, and I think Chris Dubiel, our buddy and guest PA announcer at the Hawks games when Gene Honda's got other things to do, says there's a lot of new officials in the league. And that might have something to do with it too. As the referees get more experienced, maybe some of them as a new official don't want to call a penalty against an established star, but have no problem calling a penalty against a first or second year player. There's a lot of factors that go into this. Every team every single fan base thinks their team gets screwed by the officials. So apparently, it is what it is. Get better, you'll get automatically you'll get more calls your way. That's the easy part to that.
That certainly helps. All right, got one here from Ted 808 says, "What teams do you think will actively be tanking for Gavin McKenna next year? I'm imagining Davidson could pry some NHL talent away, offering those late first-round picks, surplus seconds, thirds, and fourths, maybe even one of the extra defensemen. I think trading is possibly going to be a more realistic route than free agency for adding a few top six forwards." You're probably right.
I agree with that. And that's not just this summer. That's going forward. And we've already seen that trend. If you want that elite forward and you don't draft one, you trade for one, a la Mikko Rantanen. So as far as teams going to take next year, I don't know. It's probably too early to tell. I mean, the Flyers will be a contender for that.
You've been seeing some whispers that Buffalo might have been willing to move on from a lot of guys at this deadline, but then didn't.
But they're still in the middle of their last rebuild.
I know.
It's just, I feel bad for.
Well, I think fans. Buffalo's issue is they did very well drafting with Dahlin and Power, but they don't have any JJ Peterka is very good. Alex Tuck's very good. Tage Thompson's very good. But I don't think they have a superstar
because they keep effing trading them.
That is correct.
Jack Eichel, Sam Reinhart.
Yes.
Imagine if they had those two guys on their team.
That would be better.
That'd be a lot better.
Yes.
They'd be in the playoffs.
Yes, they would.
So they don't have the patience to keep these guys.
Which is crazy because they've been so bad for so long.
Or they just find a way to. To me, that's an ownership. They really screwed the Jack Eichel stuff with the whole neck surgery thing.
Yeah.
And
he seemed like a guy before all that nonsense was pretty content to be in Buffalo. it didn't seem like Jack Eichel correct me if I'm wrong, revisionist history might be wrong, but until the whole controversy with the neck injury arose, Jack Eichel was on board with being a Sabre. Like, Buffalo to me could be an appealing place to play because of the fan base. Do the Winners suck there? Yeah, but you're an NHL team. You're chartering planes. You're riding, but like
Winner sucks in half the NHL cities.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, man. I think so. Yeah, potentially tanking teams.
Somebody mentioned Boston is heading towards a rebuild. Boston will not rebuild. They are not a tear down team. They never have been.
Yeah,
they are a retool team, just like they did a couple years ago.
Right.
They'll be. That's what like. If Mike Sullivan does become available, that's the one team I'm worried about. Swoops in and prevents him from being a Hawks coach because he's from Boston. They'll be trying on the Mitch Marner train, I'm sure. Like, they're not a team that will tear it down, and because if they were, they would have done it already. They're a rebuild, a rebuild on the fly type of thing, just like they did, a few years ago.
Yeah, they did.
I don't see them tearing it down. Penguins should. They won't. They can't. Not with Crosby still scoring freaking point per game.
I mean, they're still pretty bad with him, but I don't think they're going to be. He probably keeps them too competitive.
The Sharks will probably still be in the running. I don't see them making a huge jump.
Guys, the Hawks are going to be in that running too.
I don't want them.
They're probably going to be a top 5 pick again.
If they're in the running next year for number like they are this year, I'm not going to be happy.
No.
Something's got to change at that point, because then that means they completely failed this offseason again.
I would think so, yes.
If the Hawks are one of the top 3 teams to get that number 1 overall pick, something's got to change.
I agree with that. All right. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's hard to identify because you have the teams that are at the bottom now already, and I don't see anyone that's anywhere in the middle really going down, because that would be like if the Boston Bruins weren't the Boston Bruins, that'd be a candidate, but they're the Boston Bruins. Like, they're not going to – like, Ottawa's on the way.
Calgary might be a team.
Like, could the Rangers rebuild?
I don't think
they're interested. I think they're like the Bruins, where they're not really interested in that.
Right. Plus, they've got too many guys under long-term contract to really do that.
Detroit keeps trying to go all in and falling short.
I mean, maybe Calgary is a team. Maybe Vancouver decides to tear it down, but it's hard to do that with Quinn Hughes entering his prime. So who knows? We'll see.
All right. Windy City sports fan. What? Oh, last one. Okay. Says, after reading the Blackhawks beat, thank you, I'm all in on Renzel, but it's starting to look like Korchinski, the cornerstone of my Shell franchise. That's NHL 25 for those keeping score at home. Is the odd man out? Realistically, what is his trade value and what would be a good return this upcoming offseason? We talked about this yesterday, and we've talked about it a lot. I think we want to be very clear here. Kevin Korchinski is not going to be pushed out of a role.
Nope.
He is higher on their depth chart than Del Mastro, Allen, Kaiser, Krevy. I think there's 2 guys, maybe 3 if you're counting Alex Vlasic, Levshinov, and Renzel, that they have higher on their depth chart. That's it. The only reason Korchinski's name has come up in these conversations is because, as we've been talking about before, the easiest path to getting a star forward might be trading one of your elite prospects, and he is the lowest in their mind of their elite prospects.
Yes. Yeah, I think because Levshinov and Renzel have gotten to the NHL and have looked better in very small sample sizes than Korchinski had last season. Granted, it's just 1 game for Renzel and it's 10 games for Levshinov, but that has got people like, maybe we could trade him. I think the fact that Levshinov and Renzel have looked so impressive and have made their claims to NHL spots quicker takes pressure off of Kevin Korchinski and the Hawks, because now he's got more time. He's 20.
Yeah.
His skating ability and offensive mindset, there's a reason he was picked 7th overall. You don't give up on him after 2 years. It's silly. So you don't trade Kevin Korchinski just to trade him. Now, if you are trying to get an elite forward that is going to be here for years, and that's the guy that the other team wants, well, then you consider it. But you just don't do it because you're like, oh, we've got too many good young defensemen. There is no such thing as too many good young defensemen.
Absolutely not.
No such thing.
Yes.
You don't trade him just because he's not your top defensive prospect anymore. That is so silly. It makes no sense. But if there's a thing out there and it's just, I'm just going to throw this name out there that he's not, this is just hypothetical. Say Kyle Connor next season goes to the Winnipeg Jets and says, I don't want to play here after this year. I want to test free agency. And the Jets say, okay, we're going to trade you first. And they say, we want Kevin Korchinski for Kyle Connor. I could definitely make that trade.
If there's a sign and trade, yes.
Right.
Yes.
That's about it. I'm not shopping Kevin Korchinski just because Artem Levshunov might be better than him.
Would you trade him for McTavish? Like him in Toronto's first McTavish?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
Because that's a 22-year-old
Exactly.
center.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Like if those are the rare circumstances where you are trading Kevin Korchinski. You're getting a 40-50 goal scorer established or a 22-year-old with proven NHL accomplishment already.
Yes, you're going to get basically the offensive version of Kevin Korchinski.
Yes. Exactly.
And that's the only time
no one is pushing for Kevin Korchinski to be traded, nor should they be.
No. He's still projected to be a top 4 defenseman for this team for many, many years. He's 20. He's a 20-year-old that got screwed by the CHL, AHL rule. It hindered his development. Give him some time. He'll be fine.
All right, Michael Evans, $2 super chat. Thoughts on Boisvert and the transfer portal? Yes, that is happening. Sasha Boisvert is leaving North Dakota.
One of 3 North Dakota players.
Yeah.
A lot of that has to do with the fact that they surprisingly fired their coach. So, that's the coach that convinced them to come there. He's no longer there. He's from Quebec, obviously. He wants to go to an Eastern school so he could be closer to his family now that his coach is gone. So that's got more to do with it. It wasn't that he hates it there or whatnot. He doesn't want to. He wants to be. That was his coach. He's gone. Now he wants to be closer to home for 1 year before he calls Chicago home.
There you go.
So he probably goes to Boston College or Boston University.
That sounds east to me.
Those schools, yeah. Boston College every year looks unbeatable until they play Denver in the tournament.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. All right. We will talk to everybody tomorrow at 2:30. Reminder, Alex Vlasic will be on the show. If you've not done it already, hit that like button for us. And we want to remind you to become a diehard at allchgo.com. There you can read my new Blackhawks beat.
You can ask Alex who he'll trade Kevin Korchinski
That's right.
for.
My new Blackhawks beat came out today. Mario did a rebuild report earlier last week. And all that great stuff that's locked for you on the website. You can read. Access to our members-only Discord, which gets you access to our Mailbag Monday that you get priority. You get a free shirt or hat when you sign up, 20% off all of our merch and events beyond that. It pays for itself very, very quickly, so take advantage. Scan that QR code on your screen or go to allchgo.com/join to become a diehard. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 2:30 with Alex Vlasic right here on the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast, powered by Bet365.
We all silly like the mayor.